The rich aroma of coffee fills the air as the machine hums its rhythmic tune. A barista smiles in satisfaction, but a customer's hesitant voice slices through the cozy atmosphere. Panic strikes. She forgot the sign. Moments later, Open hangs proudly at Cafe Youth Blossom. Outside, cherry blossoms dance in the wind, heralding a fresh, hopeful beginning. Jin Young walks alone through the morning streets, headphones on. Falling cherry blossoms mirror the melody in his ears, stirring a deep, lingering longing within his heart. Lost in his music, he's caught off guard as a hand grabs his backpack. A familiar voice calling his name instantly shatters his solitude, sending a jolt of surprise through him. He slides off his headphones to find Bomi panting but beaming with joy. She finally caught up, her radiant smile outshining even the bright spring sun. Bomi cheerfully announces the start of their university life, playfully fussing over Jin Young's hair. Under the guise of flicking away a caterpillar, she proudly introduces her attentive boyfriend. It wasn't a bug, but a gentle fix for her messy hair clip. This clumsy yet intimate gesture reveals a sweetness shared only between them, hidden behind shy glances. Memories drift back to that late summer in high school, when they finally confessed their feelings. Sweating and out of breath, he crossed the entire campus just to see her, proving his devotion. Back in reality, the prying eyes make Jin Young uneasy. He silently resolves to dump any trouble on Jaemin, focusing only on protecting their quiet moment together. But reality hits hard. Their schedules don't overlap at all. Bomi stares at her packed timetable in frustration. Seeing each other has become a luxury, even on the same campus. Suddenly, Jaemin bursts onto the scene, his boundless energy dispelling the gloom. He enthusiastically joins the conversation, completely oblivious to the couple's private atmosphere. A shared pain and a rain forge their bond, but Jin Young still finds Jaemin's energy exhausting. Bomi's accidental stomp on a foot is a playful nod to their complex, close-knit dynamic. Warmth fills Bomi's heart knowing her friends are close. Jin Young, however, breaks into a cold sweat as a leaf falls, dreading the chaotic, noisy spring that has returned once more. A petal lands on Jaemin's glasses, sparking laughter from the group. Yet behind his bright smile, Jaemin feels a prick of discomfort. He truly hates wearing them. Bomi playfully snatches Jaemin's glasses, blurring his world in an instant. Watching this overly intimate gesture, Jin Young clenches his jaw, his eyes filled with helpless jealousy. Meanwhile, Jin Young rolls his eyes at surrounding couples, unaware they are being watched. From a distance, a gaze locks onto them, and the radar for gossip begins to ping. In a corner of the campus, Mayang enthusiastically gossips about Bomi's beauty and her legendary boyfriend. Envy and curiosity spread like wildfire among the students. It was her all along. Mayang confesses she started the thread. Memories of the sweet couple at the party flush her cheeks, stirring a bitter mix of shame and unrequited crush. Following her gaze, Mayang's pupils dilate in shock. Bomi is standing next to the tall, dazzling blonde. She is certain he is the boyfriend, completely ignoring the real one standing right there. Information hub Hanbit rattles off Jaemin's stats with terrifying precision, sending the already confused Mayang into a panic. The massive misunderstanding begins to snowball out of control. A silhouette by the bright window stirs whispers. Rumors about the former prodigy spread through the campus like a quiet breeze. They remember her as the TV genius and for her notoriously prickly temper. In that awkward memory, she left Yoon Bomi with nothing but a cold shoulder. Misunderstandings grow in silence. Simply for rejecting the student council, she's painted as the villain in a power struggle, seemingly targeting Bomi. The gossip is washed away by the school bell. In this noisy corner of campus, some just want to escape the drama and retreat to the sanctuary of the game club. Spring sunlight floods the classroom. The dull roll call is instantly lit up by one name, Lee Jaemin. He shines so bright that even his lateness becomes charming. A courageous greeting crashes into thin air. Her hopeful hello is met with nothing but the stinging silence of being ignored. There's a mystery hidden in that smile. Rumors swirl that he's Yoon Bomi's boyfriend, unaware of where this misunderstanding will lead. To her, the world is a feast of colors. Beneath the cobalt sky, a pleasant scent suddenly intrudes, breaking her solitary stride. On the surface, she maintains her unshakable confidence, but her mother's worries echo deep inside. Loneliness, it seems, has been shadowing her all along. The moment she opens the door, whispers prick like needles. She's used to being alone, but this time, she yearns to break through the thick wall of isolation. It's him. The breeze catches his hair as he turns with a warm smile. In that moment, she knows she's found the one she wants to get close to. In the boring color class, even his lazy yawn seems charming. She watches secretly, her heartbeat quickening in the dull air. But unbeknownst to her, he is wondering too. Memories drift back to the freshman orientation. Perhaps this connection isn't just a one-way street. Cut back to the loud party. No romantic gazes here, just crushing social pressure. Jin Young, clutching his cola, looks painfully out of place. Jokes cross the line into piercing intrusion. When the seniors tease him about Bomi, the mockery feels suffocating. I heard international relations girls can really drink. This careless remark freezes Bomi in her tracks, instantly making the situation awkward. To mask the awkwardness and shield her boyfriend, Bomi drinks cup after cup in this crazy game, letting the alcohol swallow her reason. Suddenly, Jin Young collapses. Drunk after one sip, amidst shock and disdain, Bomi resigns herself to the cleanup call. But the moment they're out of sight, the drunkenness vanishes. That lightweight collapse? Just a calculated performance to escape the noise. Bomi presses a finger to her lips, heart racing. A voice cuts through the dark. She stammers a clumsy excuse, praying the lie holds. Safe inside, tension melts and a button clicks. As they discuss the odd Pureum, Bomi pulls a mischievous distraction. KO. Jin Young loses. Frustrated by defeat, she pouts. Jin Young gently pats her head. A quick, tender kiss on her cheek turns the moment sweet. Class ends. Jaemin flashes a blinding smile her way. Pureum freezes, heart skipping a beat, completely flustered. Knuckles rap on the desk. Jaemin leans in close, introducing himself. His sudden proximity sends heat rushing to Pureum's cheeks. As Jaemin leaves, whispers erupt. Watching from the side, a classmate narrows his eyes, stung by a sudden pang of jealousy. A memory surfaces, the touch of hair, approaching steps, an unfinished kiss in the rain. A secret known only to one. Behind the scenes, the colors of the spring palette spill across the notebook, capturing the team's laughter and effort for the perfect story. At the cafe, two bizarre drinks land on the table. The toxic mint choco and latte give off a deeply unsettling vibe. Staring at this suspicious liquid, friends hesitate. Despite the taste, they defend the clumsy barista's pride with playful banter. Jin Young's backhanded compliment sparks seeing his annoyance. Then, the bell chimes as Bomi enters, bringing a warm smile. Meanwhile, in a quiet study hall, a hand slams onto a notebook. Youngsik turns in shock to find Jiri beaming at him. In the hallway, Jiri asks for the promised item. Flustered, Youngsik scratches his head and produces the nearly forgotten notes. Memories flood back, from wild sophomore days to the senior grind. Seeing the acceptance letter, she exhales, God didn't abandon her. She's rebuilding her image, even begging for notes to help a friend. Yet, deep down, that mischievous little devil still lurks. Handing the notes to Don Chai, she beams with pride. Classmates' teasing boosts her ego. Being the good person feels surprisingly great. Her gaze catches red hair outside. Suddenly facing the teacher's concern, Jiri freezes, face painted with awkward confusion. Behind the counter, he reflects. The once fierce girl who, for the sake of exams, severed her budding romance that summer. Failure crushed her spirit. Then, the teacher extended a hand, and that cafe apron became the lifeline for a fresh start. Friends catch Jiri at the cafe again, teasing her ulterior motives. Blushing furiously, she shouts a denial to cover her tracks. As college life unfolds, the tight-knit group inevitably scatters. Some leave for distant lands while others remain behind, leaving only nostalgic echoes of their shared past. Meanwhile, amidst the lively cafe gathering, the group suddenly realizes a presence is missing. The ever-popular Jaemin is noticeably absent today. The conversation instantly pivots to gossip as a suggestive photo becomes the focus, sparking whispers about the unusual relationship between Jaemin and that girl. The mystery seems on the verge of unraveling as all eyes lock on two names, Jaemin and Eun Shai, filling the air with inquisitive tension. The scene shifts to a campus corner where Jaemin effortlessly catches a flying book, immediately turning his concerned, gentle gaze toward the startled Eun Shai. However, even the mere sound of the name, Jaemin, sends ripples of pain through Yunchi's heart, a silent reminder of a past she cannot voice. Elsewhere, an oblivious Jaemin faces a social siege, frowning in evident resistance as classmates relentlessly pressure him. Worn down by their relentless persuasion, Jaemin eventually finds himself standing resignedly in front of the green and gray cafe days later, letting out a sigh. The moment he is forced inside, the air stiffens. Jaemin feels out of place, unaware that shocked eyes from the corner are fixated on his familiar face. Pureum's mind races, staring intensely at his moving lips, frantically deciphering imaginary insults as she spirals instantly into a vortex of confusion. Amidst this suffocating awkwardness and misunderstanding, the narrative pauses briefly, like the calm before the inevitable storm. Painful memories flash back to the raucous freshman party, where clinking glasses mark Pureum's helpless descent into an alcohol-fueled trap. Consciousness fades into a blur. Familiar faces vanish, leaving her isolated with strangers and a swapped drink as panic begins to set in. Helpless to stop it, she watches as the dizziness and powerlessness of intoxication wash over her like a tide, the sorrow of the socially vulnerable. Back in the present, even in a dull classroom, the mere thought of her soulmate, Bomi, brings a smile to Pureum's lips, her eyes twinkling with longing. A ruthless termination text shatters the peace, but shock quickly turns to hope. Finally, she has the time to pursue a friendship with Bomi. But reality bites hard. Casual classroom gossip hits like ice water as she learns the devastating truth. Bomi already has a boyfriend? Pureum's heart sinks. Just as she wallows, a simple greeting from Bomi freezes her in place, struck dumb by the sudden warmth of her idol's attention, skipping a beat. Before she can recover, fate twists again. A sudden vacancy arises, and a bewildered Pureum is forcibly dragged in to fill the blind date spot. Back in the cafe, hearing the class name triggers a sudden realization. If they're classmates, does that mean Bomi's boyfriend is standing right here? Questions flood in from her friends, leaving Bomi frozen as her mind races. Faced with a query about her boyfriend and education, she has no choice but to play along with this spiraling script, her eyes filled with resignation. While her friends earnestly analyze the rumors, memories hit Bomi like a boomerang. Recalling her drunken ramblings, she clutches her head in agony, realizing she is the sole architect of this chaotic misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Jin Young, the actual boyfriend, sits at the mixer, radiating an aura of utter resignation. He stares blankly ahead, his silence a loud protest against the absurdity of his situation. Pureum watches the alleged scumbag like a hawk, the label of flirting master ringing in her ears. Amidst the laughter, Jaemin endures his friend's teasing, oblivious that he's just been framed as a cheater caught in the act. The clues snap together in her mind, causing Pureum's pupils to constrict. Shock and suspicion harden in his certainty. That seemingly decent guy is absolutely, undeniably a total player. Jaemin closes in with misplaced confidence, thinking he's read her mind. Scared? I know your secret. But to Pureum, this is just a ridiculous performance by a shameless cheater with zero remorse. Jaemin is left scratching his head as Pureum rushes to the restroom to escape him. As she turns away, pity wells up in her heart. Poor Bomi, falling for a guy who has nothing but his looks. In another corner, two mischievous friends plot a prank. Watching them gleefully prepare to spam Jaemin with calls, seeing he looks on with cold eyes, mercilessly labeling these childish idiots as hopeless. If you can't stop them, watch the show. A sly smile reveals He's darker side. Just then, the phone rings, and as Jaemin answers, the sabotage officially begins. Jaemin's fierce roar echoes in the hallway. Who told you to wait? It gives me the creeps. Pureum walks by at the worst possible moment, every angry word cementing his guilt as a cold-blooded jerk. Hang up, Bomi. As the words leave his mouth, Jaemin spins around only to find the real Bomi standing there, eyes wounded. In that instant, all his bravado freezes, leaving only suffocating awkwardness. Rumors hurt invisibly. The thought of Bomi being used as a convenient excuse despite doing nothing wrong fills the screen with unspoken grievance, making Jaemin's hand tremble as he clutches his phone. Pureum stares at Jaemin's back, her contempt almost tangible. The mere thought of Bomi wasting her youth on this jerk who cares only about looks sends a shiver down her spine. The anger finally erupts. Pureum blocks his path in the hallway and coldly spits out the words she's been holding back. Trashy bastard. Jaemin freezes, his mind blank. No one has ever dared to call him that. Faced with the accusation, realization dawns on Jaemin. Was it because he was too harsh on the phone? He scratches his head awkwardly, trying to explain, unaware they are having two completely different conversations. Jaemin casually explains it as roughhousing between friends, even mentioning choking. Pureum covers her mouth in horror, her mind instantly conjuring images of a violent, toxic relationship. This guy is irredeemable. When Jaemin innocently asks, "Did I need Bomi's permission?" Pureum's rationality snaps. Coming to a mixer without permission? That's practically a brazen declaration of cheating. The heated argument ends in an eerie silence. They return to their seats, awkwardly, with only the bacon sizzling on the grill. Jaemin stares at the meat, still utterly baffled as to why he's been branded as trash. While Bomi leans in with burning curiosity, Jin-young nonchalantly dodges the question, finding far more interest in the perfectly cooked meat than in rehashing old drama. His anticlimactic story earns outraged gasps. Annoyed, Jin-young piles food on a Bomi's plate to silence the chatter, unable to grasp why they care so much about preserving Jaemin's feelings. Waving off Bomi's offer to help, Jin-young feigns indifference. Yet, internally, a nagging sense of wrongness persists, a confusing, visceral feeling he just can't seem to rationalize away. Days later at the cafe, the usual sunny atmosphere is dampened by Jaemin's heavy sighs. Slumped on the sofa, his uncharacteristic gloom sparks worried whispers among the customers. Fed up with the moping, Seanie snaps that his sighing is bringing the mood down. Jaemin, irritated but resigned, braces himself for whatever blunt truth she's about to unleash. Seanie drops a narcissistically profound bomb. She's never felt disliked by anyone. Jaemin mentally rolls his eyes, yet grudgingly admits that her arrogant confidence is exactly what he lacks. That strikes a nerve. Jaemin flashes back to Pureum, practically diving out of his way in the hallway. It wasn't just shyness. It was active, desperate avoidance, and it stings more than he expects. It's the eyes that haunt him. She looked at him not with shyness, but with the revulsion reserved for a cockroach. Nursing his bruised ego with a drink, he wallows in the unfamiliar sting of rejection. The memory of that day refuses to fade. Her flushed face and panicked expression loop in his mind, and what started as irritation is festering into a fixation he can't quite shake. While Jaemin stews in his misery, the scene shifts to the quiet library. Pureum sits glued to a computer screen, completely oblivious that she is the source of someone's existential crisis. Bomi appears with a friendly smile, causing Pureum to nearly jump out of her skin. Flustered, Pureum admits her job hunt is a disaster, the anxiety of rejection clearly visible on her face. Bomi offers a lifeline, a job at her cafe. Despite rumors of a terrifying owner, Pureum decides to take the risk. It's a chance to earn money and finally clear the air with Bomi. Fate sets the stage. Seeing he rushes out for an errand, leaving Bomi and Jin-young alone. Outside, unaware of the emptiness within, Pureum takes a deep breath, standing on the threshold of disaster. Stealing her nerves, Pureum pushes open the pink doors, a polite greeting poised on her lips. But the words die in her throat as her eyes widen in absolute shock at the scene before her. She walks straight into an intimate moment between Bomi and the scary guy. Pureum's brain short-circuits. Is she witnessing an affair? Jin-young freezes in horror as he recognizes her. Pureum's imagination runs wild, spiraling into bizarre theories about secret affairs and rough play. She only wanted a part-time job, not a front-row seat to this confusing adult drama. Rewind to a split second before. A hand rests on the cold door handle. A heart beats with innocent anticipation. She has no idea that behind these charming pink doors, absolute chaos awaits. The visual impact is visceral. Bodies pressed together, flushed cheeks, smeared lipstick. To Pureum's innocent eyes, this isn't just intimacy. It's a full-blown scandal unfolding in high definition. Met with Jin-young's terrifying glare, Pureum connects the wrong dots. Bomi is cheating on Jaemin. Panic overrides logic, and she turns to flee the crime scene, screaming a nonsensical apology. Escape plan failed. In her blind panic, she slams headfirst into someone entering the shop. The world spins, stars dance in her vision, and she collapses, the chaos reaching a fever pitch. Fate seems to enjoy playing pranks at the worst possible moments. Before an explanation can be offered, the last person they wanted to see appears again. The accusation strikes like a sudden storm. Facing Pureum's confident misunderstanding, Bomi turns beet red, desperate and unable to explain. Suffocating awkwardness fills the air as Jin-young watches the chaos helplessly, while Bomi's thoughts veer completely off course in the maze of misunderstandings. An unintentional closeness is met with Jin-young's cold warning, leaving Pureum feeling unprecedented embarrassment and grievance. To break the excruciating atmosphere, Pureum drops the bombshell of a job application, instantly plunging the room into stunned silence. Bomi tries to untangle the chaotic web of relationships, but ends up blindly matching the wrong couples, making the already complex situation even more absurd. Since the misunderstanding won't clear up, Bomi grits her teeth and severs the rumor at its root. Her blunt clarification explodes in the cafe like a thunderclap. The harsh words once spoken now return like a boomerang. Seeing the smile that doesn't reach Jinyoung's eyes, Pureum feels a chill run down her spine. Watching Pureum's mortified reaction, the surprise in Bomi's eyes turns into realization, as if she finally grasped the key clue that had been ignored. Recalling the warning Bomi once gave with that carefree smile, Pureum only now feels a belated shiver of terror. Just as Bomi ruthlessly roasts Pureum's zero social skills, the sound of the door opening breaks the awkward standoff like a lifeline. The examiner outside heard everything, and with a playful smile, stamps an unauthorized pass on this chaotic interview. Faced with sharp skepticism, Pureum's logic crumbles. Flushing red, she is nowhere to hide under the other's all-knowing gaze. The romantic filter she had constructed in her mind shatters completely, forcing her to face the brutal reality that she messed everything up. Her mental defenses collapse utterly, and before the shame fades, a new thunderclap strikes. So this is the rumored place. Outside stands a hesitant old friend. Inside, Pureum catches a subtle anomaly, sensing an unspoken change flowing through the air. In this moment, all hesitation dissolves into a deep breath as Jaemin finally makes up his mind to step toward the door that holds so many memories. The intense drama presses pause for a moment, leaving a light-hearted, lingering vibe, as if playfully setting the stage for the upcoming chapter. The bustle of the campus wakes up the morning. Energetic footsteps and a cheerful call declare that everyone is racing towards a new beginning. Laughter fills the locker room as Dayan and Eunchai playfully banter, completely unnoticed by the bewildered Jaemin who wandered into the wrong class, kicking off a chaotic youthful mix-up. In the hallway, Jaemin jokingly recounts their mother's feud, his casual tone inadvertently revealing the deep bond he shares with Jaehyun stemming from their childhood dojo days. The mood shifts instantly as Jaemin's expression hardens. Grabbing Yinchi's wrist, he solemnly brings up the breakup that threw everything into chaos. Meanwhile, at Blossom Cafe, time seems to freeze. Eyes meet across the counter as they silently mouth each other's names, the awkwardness of their reunion spreading through the silence. Jaehyun lowers his gaze, suppressing inner turmoil, while behind the counter, Seonhee panics. A silent FUC explodes in her mind, shattering the superficial calm. Seonhee desperately scrutinizes herself. Greasy hair, old t-shirt, a far cry from the perfect reunion she imagined. Shame drives her to let out a piercing internal scream. Even worse, Jaehyun introduces her as just a club friend. Seonhee feels a sharp sting of irrelevance, making even the grandmother's warm greeting feel jarring. Shame instantly morphs into rage. Gritting her teeth, Seonhee dons sunglasses, deciding to become a goddess of vengeance and pour all her spite into making that coffee. Jaehyun tries to stay calm at the table, explaining the coincidences, but the loud clanging from behind the counter fills the air with the dangerous scent of impending doom. Finally, the special drink is served. Seeing Seonhee looking like she just survived a brawl, Jaehyun furrows his brows, sensing this gathering won't end quietly. In another corner, a heartbeat thunders. Faced with a question, she breaks into a cold sweat, her panicked eyes unable to hide the chaos within. The latecomers finally arrive, interrupting the delicate conversation. Jaehyun is annoyed by the terrible timing, while Sari touches her hair, her cheeks flushing with unconcealable heat. As the group laughs together, Sari steals glances at Jaehyun. Despite the accidental spill, she feels a secret sense of pride in how well he's doing. But the warmth doesn't last. The floodgates of memory open, bringing back the hysterical shout of "Let's break up," echoing like a knife cut from the past. Meanwhile, Pureum is caught spying. Faced with her friend's interrogation, she covers her mouth in embarrassment, feeling like the most ridiculous outsider in that moment. Seonhee thought her messy appearance would scare him off, but unexpectedly, the next day and the next, that familiar figure pushes open the door again and again. Even as other suitors get blocked, Jaehyun keeps showing up without fail. Watching this, Seonhee feels a tangled mix of confusion and annoyance. Finally, she sits across from him. While questioning his behavior, her mind drifts back to their first meeting at the freshman party, and her tone softens. Jaehyun gently asks why she pretended not to know him. Blushing, Seonhee whispers the pent-up truth with lingering grievance. "Because I saw you hugging Yoon Bomi." A new chapter begins. Donchai, lost in his headphones, is startled awake as a hand suddenly taps his head, making his eyes go wide with shock. Headphones come off, replaced by Bomi's warm smile, as the couple immerses themselves in the sweet atmosphere of their daily romance. Walking to the cafe with pizza in hand, they pause at the entrance, puzzled by the raucous noise coming from inside. Bomi flings the door open with a beaming smile, only to freeze. Chaos reigns inside, shattered by the sound of C&He violently retching. Rewind a few minutes. In the peaceful cafe, a handbag is slammed onto the sofa, signaling the approaching storm. Rage erupts instantly with a sharp slap, spilling the bag's contents across the floor like C&He's shattered composure. Eerie smoke rises from the bag, terrifying the onlookers, while C&He stands with her back turned, fists clenched, trembling with humiliation. Jae-hyun confesses his absurd club activities were just to be near her, leaving C&He to list the cringeworthy memories with disbelief. Memories flood back. She thought it was a bitter, unrequited crush, but now she sees the hurt of misunderstanding in Jae-hyun's eyes. Misunderstanding his silent departure. C&He had fallen into deep self-doubt and isolation. The Risley humiliation still stinging today. As long as you were by my side slips out, freezing the air. The shocked looks of friends confirm it. She just confessed publicly. The truth lands. Jae-hyun buries his face in regret, realizing he was dense enough to think she was just a fellow club fanatic, missing every sign. Back to reality, a drunk C&He tries to hide her messy, intoxicated state from Jae-hyun, her eyes swimming with vulnerability. Desperate to sober up, she recklessly grabs Jae-hyun's coffee and gulps it down, missing his panicked attempt to stop her. Too late. A strange taste spreads as Jae-hyun's scream pierces the air, signaling the inevitable disaster. Meanwhile, Pureum is hit by intense déjà vu, colors exploding in her vision as her consciousness drifts between illusion and reality. Jin-young stares intently at the dazed Pureum, his gaze sharp and urgent, trying to awaken her forgotten memories of that day. Nausea hits Pureum with the memory shock. Just then, a cheerful Bomi bursts in, her bright voice jarring against the heavy atmosphere. Bomi's smile freezes at the door. Before her, Pureum turns pale, teetering amidst the chaos, weakly calling out her name. Emotionally collapsing, Pureum's eyes widen as she uses her last ounce of strength to scream the name. Yoon Bomi. The scene shifts to a colorful art studio, where Pureum's talent is finally recognized, and new hope quietly blooms amidst the splatter. Colors explode before her eyes as a voice confirms her name. Pureum jolts awake, cheeks burning, mind still drifting in the bizarre dream, until a gentle whisper pulls her back to reality. It's not physical pain. Pureum clutches her forehead, her voice frail in the night air. The dream was too vivid, dragging her back to childhood, and that long-lost face leaves a dull ache in her heart. Leaning against the wall, he sees right through her facade. He calmly notes that dreaming of the past makes one powerless again, asking if it's born of longing or a scar that refuses to heal. Pureum tries to deflect, turning the question back on him. Yet her thoughts drift involuntarily to the depths of her dream, focusing on a blurry figure and that unforgettable hair. Seeing his gentle smile, Pureum's heart skips a beat, rainbows reflecting in her dilated pupils. She realizes with a shock that it's both a painful memory and a dizzying, present moment of attraction. Just as she sinks into the nostalgia, reality crashes down. The rose-tinted filter shatters, and a suppressed, awful memory begins to surface from the depths of her consciousness. Meanwhile, Bomi is on the verge of a breakdown. Remembering her humiliation in front of a stranger, she buries her face in her pillow, wishing the ground would swallow her whole. Her friend's comfort falls flat as Bomi tearfully questions her fate. Of all places and times, how did she end up humiliating herself in front of Kim Jae-hyun? Across the cafe, hearing the quip about the power of love, her grip on the spray bottle tightens instantly. The plastic creaks under pressure as a murderous impulse flashes through her mind. Then, disaster strikes. Lee Jae-min is here. Her eyes widen in horror, but before she can protest, the blonde figure steps through the door with a bright, oblivious smile. The situation spirals into further awkwardness as she shakily asks about the restroom. Jae-hyun peeks out with a joke, but his presence sends a chill down her spine. Did he hear her screaming just now? Jae-hyun emerges wearing a hoodie that's clearly too big, looking slightly ridiculous. Sari jumps up in surprise, while Jae-hyun gently offers to do laundry, seemingly trying to resume their interrupted, intimate conversation. The memory hits like a tidal wave, absolute social death. Not only did she cause a scene, but she also puked on her crush. Now, consumed by shame, she's convinced she's already been rejected. The shame finally boils over. She squeezes her eyes shut and wails in despair, her face burning red. Sari watches this dramatic meltdown with a look of pure confusion. Watching the honest yet pathetic girl before her, Sari feels a mix of emotions. As the girl hysterically refuses to leave, the guys in the background exchange glances, completely bewildered by the chaos. Suddenly, something shifts in Sari. She turns to the guy and drops a blunt confession out of nowhere. "I can't believe I ended up liking a guy like you." The air freezes as he stares back, completely dumbfounded. The compact snaps shut with a sharp click. The girl who was crying moments ago instantly composes herself, fixing her makeup. If she won't be dumped, she'll just change her strategy. Determination reignites in her eyes. The innocent flower persona has failed. Though her pride is wounded, she refuses to admit defeat. She stands up gracefully to leave, acting as if the meltdown never happened, leaving only a haughty silhouette behind. So that's it. The student ID reveals the truth. Lee Sari, the monster freshman of the theater department. Was it all just an act? She flashes a flawless, bright smile, making it impossible to distinguish the performance from reality. Just as she departs with her victory, a tray crashes to the floor behind her. The entire cafe freezes in shock, left to deal with the chaos caused by the legendary acting genius. The long day finally comes to a close as Pureum collapses on her bed, drifting into exhaustion. Suddenly, a jolt of panic wakes her up, heart pounding, startling even her hamster with a sudden commotion. Just as they discuss lunch to lighten the mood, a voice calls out. Pureum turns to see Bomi, tension instantly tightening her chest. Bracing for a confrontation, Pureum tries to explain, only to be shocked when Bomi excitedly brings up the freshman orientation day instead. The misunderstanding clears instantly. Pureum feared that just wait was a threat, but Bomi looks baffled. It was a promise to repay the kindness after she fainted. Memories flood back, and Pureum wants to disappear. The intimate hug she saw was just a trick of perspective when Bomi fainted onto Jaemin. Bomi smiles, explaining her gratitude before walking away, leaving Pureum standing there, her mind completely scrambled by the sudden twist. But trouble isn't over. Whispers spread across the track field, with witnesses claiming they saw Pureum hugging Jaemin as rumors spiral out of control. Jin Young, the culprit, watches the chaos. He only meant to tease, but as things escalate, a playful smirk tugs at his lips. Just as Pureum tries to calm down, Jaemin walks through the door. Panic seizes her heart the moment their eyes meet, her worst fear realized. In the cold night air, Jaemin finds Pureum shivering in a corner. Hearing her incoherent mumbling, his annoyance shifts to genuine concern. Watching her vulnerable sleeping face, Jaemin feels a sudden tug at his heart. Thinking she looks pretty, a thought that surprises even him. To hide the awkwardness, Jaemin clears his throat and goes to buy water. His lingering gaze leaves Pureum blushing, the air thick with tension. Meanwhile, Jin Young sits on the steps, savoring a moment of peace after finishing his intense training session. He abruptly rushes off, eager to video call home. On the screen, his mother appears holding his adorable little sister, Samin, instantly melting his fatigue. To amuse his sister, the usually cool Jin Young makes silly faces at the screen, startling his friend standing right behind him. Seeing Samin finally smile, Jin Young's eyes soften. He mentions Jaemin to his mother, hinting at a deep, unspoken bond between them. Before hanging up, Jin Young seems to plan a visit for Jaemin to see older brother. The scene settles on the Blossom Cafe, signaling a new storm is brewing. Inside the cafe, Jaemin shamelessly appears again. He jokingly claims he wants to get back together, then laughs it off, leaving Bomi fuming. But then the air freezes. Jaemin drops the act, his gaze turning intense. "Actually, I'm not joking. I come here because I really want you back." Bomi freezes in shock as his gaze hardens with resolve. He steps forward, dropping all hesitation, and delivers the ultimatum. "I'm here to finally get you back." Time seems to freeze as Pureum's pupils dilate, cold sweat trickling down. The air grows heavy, his declaration echoing through the bright cafe, leaving a suffocating silence in its wake. Meanwhile, a suffocating silence hangs elsewhere. Only the clinking of dishes and the tapping of keys break the stillness, forcing the newcomers to pause, unsettled by the oppressive atmosphere. Curiosity overrides the awkwardness as they whisper outside the door. Desperate to uncover the truth behind the breakup, They hold their breath and lean in, preparing to eavesdrop on the heavy silence within. Inside, Seon-hee draws a cold line. But Jae-hyun hangs his head, his voice heavy with exhaustion. I have no interest in getting back together. Her heart skips a beat at the unexpected rejection. Memories flood back, the sting of their last argument fresh. He thought it was just exam stress, that she would call back if he waited. But the endless silence eventually shattered every last hope. Denial spills from his lips, but her memory haunts him everywhere. He closes his eyes in pain, consumed by belated regret. If only he had held on tight, just once, would things have ended differently? The eavesdroppers cover their mouths in shock, realizing the tragic truth of the past. Suddenly, new arrivals stumble upon the scene, threatening to blow their cover and shattering the fragile tension. As Seon-hee bitterly admits her past madness, Jae-hyun nods in silence. Suddenly, a figure erupts from the corner. Pureum leaps up, screaming, I'm trash, instantly shattering the melancholic atmosphere with chaos. Pureum only meant to rest, but wakes up to the horror of having overheard everything. With all eyes on her, she freezes, wishing the ground would swallow her whole in her utter mortification. Pureum scrambles away, trying to give the ex-lover space. But Jae-hyun pushes forward, piercing through Seon-hee's facade. If you're really over it, why did you quit school to hide here? Cornered, Seon-hee lashes out while Jae-hyun's face twists with frustration. Just then, Pureum bursts back in, fresh-faced and oblivious, completely misreading the explosive tension in the air. Desperate to prevent his friend from ruining the moment, Dongchai struggles to drag Jiri away. Their chaotic tussle is interrupted when Jaemin walks in, staring blankly at the absurdity unfolding before him. Meanwhile, Seon-hee is flushed and frustrated by the heat, searching in vain for a hair tie. With a sigh of resignation, she grabs a flimsy yellow rubber band, trying to tie back her messy hair and her chaotic thoughts. That'll hurt your hair. Warm hands suddenly intervene, saving her from the struggle. As Jae-hyun gently ties her hair, the familiar intimacy brings a sting to her eyes, leaving her to mutter dumbass to hide her fluttering heart. His fingers linger in her hair as he whispers a regretful wish for honesty. The scene, straight out of a romance manga, leaves the onlookers breathless, grinning at the undeniable chemistry. Just as the romantic tension peaks, a clueless Pureum makes her grand entrance. She proudly announces she's done cleaning, only to be met with exasperated stares, a giant question mark practically floating above her head. The secret is out. Unable to contain their curiosity, the crowd swarms the couple. Bombarded with questions about their breakup, Seon-hee flushes crimson, completely overwhelmed by the sudden interrogation. Amidst the chaos, strong arms suddenly wrap around Pureum from behind. The unexpected embrace short-circuits her brain, sending a volcano of panic and embarrassment erupting through her. I'm doomed. The air in the classroom feels heavy. Pureum buries her head, haunted by the memory of puking on him, as guilt washes over her like a tidal wave. She tries to formulate an apology, but puke and trash clash in her mind. When she finally speaks, a disastrous portmanteau slips out. Fook. Jaemin looks utterly confused trying to decipher the word, while Pureum turns beet red, screaming internally and wishing the ground would swallow her whole. Jaemin tries to explain using the word apology, sagwa, but in her panic, Pureum hears apple juice. The misunderstanding snowballs, out of control. Meanwhile, memory shifts to the past. Facing Jaehyun's question, Seon-hee's eyes dim. It wasn't just about the juice. It was a deep exhaustion with their relationship. That September, the red marks on the exam paper were blinding. The interviewer's cold words felt like a verdict, announcing her total academic failure. The teacher advises her to lower her standards. Sunny lowers her head, clenching her fist until her nails dig into her palm, torn between defiance and helplessness. Standing by the window, she feels a mix of self-mockery and rage at her late-blooming ambition. Suddenly, a hand offers a drink, breaking the suffocating loneliness. In the stairwell, Jae-hyun gently ties her hair. She leans on his shoulder, savoring the moment of peace while dreading the inevitable separation looming ahead. Her hand shakes as she grips the pen, driven by a desire to be worthy of him. It's a longing to stand by his side, mixed with the terrifying fear of being left behind. Pressure crushes her on the busy street. Just as she's about to break, Jaehyun's warm voice calls out from the distance, pulling her back from the abyss. He hands her the familiar drink with a warm smile. Sun-hee holds his hand, but a bitterness rises within. His kindness only makes her feel smaller. Insecurity grows like vines. What if this perfect relationship collapses? The fear instantly grips her throat, suffocating her. Back to the present, acting prodigy Lee Seri struts down the street. She treats heartbreak as fuel for her acting, her confident steps crushing any sadness. Even surrounded by gossip about her drunken antics, Seri smiles unfazed. Meanwhile, the boy beside her groans, clutching his head in embarrassment at the memory. Seeing his awkwardness, Seri launches an impromptu pronunciation drill right on the street, forcing him to shout embarrassing words in a scene of pure absurdity. The street farce draws stares, but Seri revels in it. However, once inside, her eyes turn cold facing the endless pestering. "This is my business, not yours." Amidst the argument, Sunhee finally screams her pain. "You doing this just makes me feel more pathetic." They stand back to back, their hearts now worlds apart. The forgotten food box melts away, much like her last shred of pride, shattering completely with a monologue. "I'm freaking embarrassed with myself." Suddenly, a red picnic juice box appears. Her head snaps up, pupils trembling, tears welling instantly. It's the familiar warmth of a memory returned. As Jaehyun fumbles with a clumsy attempt to comfort her, Seonhee's deep-seated insecurity bursts forth, twisting his every word of kindness into a piercing, painful boast. Anger and shame collide violently within her chest. She loathes her own pathetic state, feeling as though even the melting drink before her mocks their crumbling relationship. Seeing that his presence is a burden rather than a comfort, Jaehyun's heart wrenches. To let her breathe, he makes the agonizing choice to let go. The harsh words of breakup spill out, freezing the air instantly. But as the silence of isolation hits, her bravado crumbles, leaving only a hollow echo of regret and shame. She clings to her last shred of pride as a shield, but the idle gossip of bystanders pierces through her facade like sharp needles. Cold stares and mockery form invisible walls, trapping her on an island of isolation, forcing her to confront the ugly scars of her own arrogance in the dead of night. Memories rewind to that afternoon of collapse. Efforts dissolved into nothingness. She curled up on the floor, weeping for the days she fought so hard yet still failed. The falling cherry blossoms turn gray in Jihyun's sorrowful gaze, while elsewhere, a burst of bright laughter tries desperately to pierce through the heavy gloom. Time passes, and like two startled animals, they crouch outside the cafe, having missed their chance to enter, silently confirming that hatred hasn't replaced their bond. Meanwhile, another pair attempts to bridge their gap. Jaehyun's steady gaze pierces through the hesitation, his gentle reassurance soothing all of Pureum's lingering anxieties. Tentatively testing the boundaries of friendship, Pureum's heart races with a mix of nerves and hope, terrified that this fragile new connection might snap with a single word. A simple "see you tomorrow" echoes in the night air. Though they walk apart, the heavy burden that weighed on their hearts has quietly lifted. Walking alone under the neon lights, Pureum's steps grow lighter. The solitude no longer feels cold, warmed by the joy of finally making a first friend. Back in the memory-filled corridor, Seonhee freezes in shock, realizing that through all the time apart, the longing never ceased. He had been waiting right there all along. Under the dim streetlight, Jaehyun's voice is steady and warm. He reminds her that life isn't a race, and he is willing to wait, no matter how long it takes. Two pairs of shoes finally stand side by side again. All fears evaporate as sunlight pierces the clouds, illuminating a future where they are no longer apart. Elsewhere on campus, playful banter can't hide her shyness. Facing her friends' teasing, she blushes deeply, guarding the unspoken secret of last night. Jaemin appears in the sunlight with his signature gentle smile. His playful complaint instantly strikes the softest corner of her heart, making it skip a beat. Back at the cafe, with that busy figure missing, Samong smiles and dons the apron. Amidst this mundane routine, a new encounter seems to be brewing. An iced latte passes between hands in silent understanding, until the sudden patter of rain against the window breaks the peace, much like the unexpected, thrilling turns of youth. The sky is gloomy as rain taps against the window, thoughts drifting with the damp air toward the distant memorial hall, a place heavy with memories. Rounding the corner, Pureum freezes, pupils trembling. That guy holding a baby, is that actually Jaemin, the guy she thought was a player? The child is his carbon copy. Pureum stands frozen, heart pounding, the sound of rain blurring as she wonders if this absurd scene is just a dream. Meanwhile, the peace at Blossom Cafe is broken. A staff member looks up in surprise as a familiar visitor barges in with an innocent look. Facing this overly enthusiastic friend of Jaehyun, Seon forces a customer service smile while screaming internally. Jaehyun needs to stop sending his annoying friends here. Over in the study area, the gloom of exam season hangs heavy. While some joke around, others struggle on the verge of a breakdown, anxiety filling the air. Is Jaemin not coming? Bomi asks casually, only to realize she's the only one out of the loop. The gap between their knowledge and hers lets a quiet disappointment creep in. Dongchai rests his chin on his hand, gaze deep. He knows Jaemin's schedule because it's not just a plan, but a special meeting tied to a departed friend. It's the anniversary. To comfort this sister he's never properly met, Jaemin chooses to shoulder this heavy memory alone, sharing his vulnerability only with his closest friend. As the dots connect, Bomi covers her mouth in shock. Jaemin's secret wasn't distance, but gentle protection. That sister is the bond connecting him to his past. Elsewhere, Dongchai leans against a wall, mind racing. Rumors about Jiri and Jaemin spread like wildfire, throwing his heartbeat off balance and flushing his cheeks. Hearing others confidently confirm the fake relationship, Donkey's eyes dim. He tries to force himself to accept this fact, only to feel guilty from the sting in his heart. Liar. Facing the girl who fueled the rumors, Dongchai can no longer stand this absurd charade, anger building within his silence, ready to erupt. Facing Jiri's confused look, Dongchai grits his teeth and tears open the truth. I lied. Whether you confess is up to you. I can't listen to this anymore. He turns and walks away, steps fast and heavy, leaving Jiri and the whispering crowd behind in an awkward, cold silence. The tears finally break free. Even knowing she only has eyes for another, Dongchai miserably admits to a one-sided love he lost from the very start on this rainy day. In his memories, Jiri always sparkled, mentioned Jaemin, and her world bloomed with flowers, a passion so pure and blinding it was impossible to look away. Under the umbrella, Jiri chatters on, worried about Jaemin's love life. Dongchai turns his head, heart bitter and helpless as he watches her eyes light up for someone else. You have to tell me if anything happens. She grips his arm tight, eyes earnest. In this moment, her trust feels like the cruelest torture to Dongchai. Watching the silly girl in the rain, Dongchai sighs in resignation. Even though her light breaks his heart, he tragically finds her hopelessly cute all the same. Memories flood back. She walks beside him with reluctant steps, her eyes welling with grievance. She feels like a pawn in a game, annoyed at being forced into a connection she never asked for. Dongchai wasn't oblivious. He tried to stay detached, but her helplessness reminded him of his sister. Back in senior year, when she asked for his book, his defenses quietly began to crumble. He knew she only sought him out for Jaemin, yet he indulged her. After graduation, seeing her excitement to chase her crush, he could only offer a bitter, knowing smile. Flashback to the salon. On her whim, he cut his hair short. Staring at his unfamiliar reflection, he felt a mix of nervous insecurity and a secret joy from her attention. It's not so bad, right? He mumbled, touching his hair shyly. Under her curious gaze, the air filled with a soft warmth, bridging the distance between them. In the winter chill, adjusting his scarf, he finally let his guard down. Meeting her worried gaze, the vulnerability he had buried deep surfaced in a silent confession. Amidst the bustling street, he spoke his truth. Seeing her blush in surprise, Dongchai smiled with relief. In the falling snow, his heavy, unrequited love transformed into a warm friendship. Walking away in the snow, his figure looked lonely yet unburdened. He finally accepted his vulnerable past. Even as just friends, his heart found peace in the silent white world. Back to the rainy present. Raindrops drum on green leaves as two pairs of feet stand opposite on the wet pavement. Seeing he looks up in shock, frozen by this unexpected encounter. Misunderstandings pile up. Seeing the baby in Jaehyun's arms, she panics, thinking she's uncovered a secret. His laughing correction, "She's my little sister," dissolves the tension into blushing awkwardness. Her heart still races in the corridor. His proximity triggers embarrassing memories. They exchange polite, small talk about the rain, but a palpable tension lingers in the air. The rain masks their hesitation. Suddenly, Jaehyun turns and asks her to watch his sister. Seeing his eyes widen in sheer disbelief at the abrupt request. Before she can react, she's holding the soft, small life. As Jaehyun rushes off amidst the baby's fussing, a strange flutter hits Seonhee's chest, her heart skipping a beat. Why is my heart fluttering? While Seonhee questions her feelings, Jaehyun receives a warning text about a psycho nearby. The romantic rain suddenly carries a hint of danger. Jaehyun rushes to the corner, umbrella in hand. But instead of trouble, he bumps into a familiar face. He and Dongchai stare at each other in the rain, speechless with surprise. After a brief greeting, Dongchai does something shocking. He hands his umbrella to Jaehyun, asking him to give it to Jiri. Jaehyun stands frozen, stunned by this selfless gesture. "I'll go like this." Dongchai sprints into the rain with his bag over his head, leaving a bittersweet silhouette. Just as Jaehyun marvels at him, a sudden collision nearly knocks the umbrella from his hand. Flustered, he apologizes, only to look up and meet Jiri's surprised gaze. "Did you see Dongchai?" Her urgent question makes the awkward situation even more intense. Émotionnelle explosion. Amidst the pouring rain, Jaehyun smiles tenderly, blushing. In front of him, Seon-hee is in tears, her confession, "I like you too," thundering through the night. A bag drops, splashing water. The umbrella tilts to shield the crying girl. He speaks softly over the sound of rain, turning all misunderstandings and wading into a moment of deep protection. Rain soaks their shoes as the boy stares at the girl, holding an umbrella, yet drenched, finally breaking the silence. He frowns, asking why she didn't use the umbrella he gave her, but his fingertips gently graze her burning cheek, the mention of Jaemin spiking the romantic tension. He gently wipes away her tears, clumsy in his attempt to soothe her breakdown over a fan-like crush. However, spotting Jaemin standing nearby, the boy flushes red, embarrassment mixing with the rain, until Jaemin tactfully turns and exits, leaving only the chime of the door behind. In the freezing rain, hands clasped tight, sharing warmth. The boy frantically clarifies that the man isn't the him from his nightmares, but the girl, eyes shimmering with tears, smiles with fierce determination, vowing to fight for him. A protective loyalty that shakes him to his core. Sweat beads on his forehead as he finally drops his guard, trembling as he admits his powerlessness and fear in the face of trauma. The girl leans in gently, eyes closed, wrapping his own concerned back around him, whispering softly through the rain, "What about you? We be all right." The distance closes dangerously as the boy mocks himself as a slave to dopamine, giving her one last chance to run. Her heart thunders, cheeks flushed, but she freezes before his unfinished confession, her eyes filled with shy anticipation and surrender. The rain blurs the world, leaving only the warmth of their lips meeting, the "I like you" finally spoken aloud. The scene shifts indoors, where the girl touches her burning cheeks, the heat of the moment lingering as a shy blush refuses to fade. Inside the cafe, the newly minted couple sits awkwardly under everyone's gaze. He crosses his arms stiffly while she hides her face in shy embarrassment. Thinking back to his cheerful hello at the door just minutes ago, the silence now hums with a sweet undercurrent only they understand. Sari enthusiastically greets Jaehyun, instantly triggering Seon-hee's temper. She explicitly texted him not to come. The air freezes as Sari keenly points out the awkward yet intense tension between the two, leaving Jaehyun with nothing but a helpless, wry smile. Sari tries to get close with EGO and poster model excuses, only to be met with Jaehyun's brutal honesty. "I hate people like you." Her lie exposed, Sari feels the sting but instantly pivots, brazenly ordering him to hit the lights, refusing to lose ground in this psychological game. Bystanders mistake their interaction for a father-daughter bond, sparking whispers. Faced with Sari's headache-inducing persistence, Jaehyun finally caves, sighing. As long as you buy something, his resignation hiding a tolerance he hasn't quite realized himself. The mood shifts abruptly. Amidst the debate about ideal types, Jaehyun drops the playful facade. He looks Sari in the eye, stating that even affection isn't an excuse to shirk responsibility, his words acting like cold water that instantly restores the boundaries of reality. Just as the argument peaks, Sari steps in, her warm hand gently cupping Jaehyun's cheek. The sudden intimacy causes Jaehyun's pupils to dilate in shock, all logic collapses, leaving only a flushed face and a heart pounding violently in his chest. The rain persists as Jiri stands by the road with her blue umbrella, politely declining Jaemin's offer for a ride. Though she wears a courteous smile, her insistence that the bus is coming hides a deliberate distance and the unsettled waves within her heart. Through the car window, Jaemin thanks her for looking after Samin, the gratitude bridging the gap between them. Watching the car fade away, Jiri stands alone in the rain, her reluctance parting transforming into tenderness, making "see you tomorrow" sound like the sweetest promise. On the swaying bus, Jiri gazes at the rainy scenery, her blush deepening. She touches her chin, replaying the conversation, the anticipation for tomorrow rising like fermenting honey, sweet enough to make her smile uncontrollably. The scene shifts to Jin Young, engrossed in his game, while Bomi studies with unwavering focus, headphones on. Though tuned into different channels, the couple displays a strikingly similar intensity, perhaps the unique charm and chemistry of this high-achieving pair. Sunlight floods the campus as freshman Pureum walks with tired but light steps after her exams. Though nursing a headache, the girl dubbed Super Charisma has eyes full of curiosity for university life, unaware that an unexpected encounter lies just ahead. The image of that figure holding an umbrella in the rain floods her mind, and Pureum shyly admits she's a total sucker for handsome faces. The thought of meeting him soon sends her heart racing uncontrollably, anticipation and nervousness weaving into the raw flutter of youth. Just then, a figure in white headphones brushes past. Pureum whips her head around, recognizing the face instantly. It's Bomi's boyfriend. Shock freezes her in her tracks, shattering her pink fantasies against the hard wall of reality and awkwardness. They walk away from each other fast, back to back, the air thick with suffocating tension. Bystanders whisper in fear, mistaking the weird vibe for a clash of titans. Unaware, it's just a top-tier, awkward moment born from social anxiety and misunderstanding. Facing malicious speculation about her boyfriend, Bomi blushes but stands firm. Her words, "he is actually sweet," instantly transform the tense gossip into a sweet moment of defense. While Bomi mentally praises her lover, Jin Young hesitates outside due to a misunderstanding until the door slowly opens, turning anxious waiting into a heart-pounding turning point. The moment their eyes meet, all rehearsed intros feel redundant. His soft greeting instantly melts Bomi's tense nerves into the youthful air. Just sitting side by side sets Bomi's cheeks on fire, the uncontrollable palpitations quietly heating up the silence between them, making the air thick with sweetness. Before the sweet aftertaste fades, an abrupt text from an unknown number drops the temperature. The unknown past attempting to pierce the screen and intrude on her peaceful life. Meanwhile, the air in the cafe seems frozen. The confusion in Sean-hee's eyes betrays her inner turmoil, and even in silence, suppressed emotions surge underneath. Whispers about tardiness rise in the campus corner, while the memory of that flirtatious whisper acts like a thorn, quietly planting a seed of unease in the heart. As the tray is passed, a brush of fingertips accompanies averting eyes. Though they try to suppress it, the unextinguished affection overflows through their gaze. Sari's deliberate ex-girlfriend acts as a fuse, instantly detonating Seon-hee's pent-up rage and plunging the peaceful cafe into a chaotic confrontation. Faced with Sari's absurd yet tempting offer, Seon-hee vacillates between madness and intrigue, until Jaehyun gently intervenes to barely calm the farce. Jaehyun's comfort arrives like a spring breeze. Seon-hee finally realizes the vast absurdity of the world, and the heavy stone in her heart seems to finally lift. Hesitant eyes gradually focus as she grips the tablet. The haze in her heart is dispelled by determined light, finally reclaiming her courage amidst the mundane noise. On the sunlit playground, Pureum ignores the stares. Her stubborn retort about dodgeball is her unique declaration against boring rules and judgment. Competitiveness erupts on the court. Pureum's roar surprises Dongchai, yet he reads a distinct cuteness and authenticity in her regretful profile afterwards. After the noise, the scene pans to the two in sick beds. The fever brings not just delirium, but a deep longing for each other that becomes clearer in the hazy dream.